Okay, on to the biconditional. This is one of our connectors from chapter 2 that I did not cover for your last homework. But we can understand it based on what we've done. Actually, I'm going to hit the light here so we don't have that glare. Okay? We can understand it based on what we've done. It's a double arrow. Okay? It's A implies B, A arrow B, and B arrow A. Okay? Nice convenient sign. I've told you already, some of our connectors are interchangeable with the others, kind of defined in terms of them. Okay? And the resulting truth conditions, you get different resulting truth conditions. But double arrow is A implies B and B implies A. That's actually one way to write it. That's a pretty cumbersome way to write it, right? A double arrow B. This is called the biconditional because the conditional goes both ways. Remember, for the arrow, order matters. A arrow B is different than B arrow A. But this says both hold. A implies B and B implies A, right? So it's the old Frank Sinatra song, you can't have one without the other, right? Okay? Can't have A without B, can't have B without A. So they both imply each other, okay? So this is a combination of the arrows. We'll see that with truth condition. It turns out to be, other logic books will call this material equivalence because to assert that A double arrow B is just to say here and now, not in every circumstance, but here and now, they have the same truth value. That's different than the conjunction. The conjunction says they're both true, same truth value, both true. This says they have the same truth value, whether true or false. So you're not asserting that they're both true, you're not asserting that they're both false, but you are asserting that they have the same truth value because you can't have one without the other. So one phrase for this is, and I hesitate to give us this because we're going to do if by itself and we're going to do only if by itself. But if you have both together, if and only if, right? If A if B, A only if B. If you have B, you have A. And you have A only if you have B. You've gotta, and it guarantees. Each implies the other. Necessary and sufficient. To go back to the previous video. Double arrow, sometimes called material equivalence, because it means what it comes to is they have the same truth value. So here's your chart. Both true, it's true. Both false, it's true. Otherwise false. Now look at how that's a combination of the two arrows, right? Where this is, right, where you could say this is both of these, A arrow B and also B arrow A, right? So you have to look at the order in both directions, right? True, double arrow true is true, right? Because true arrow true, all true. True double arrow false is false, just like in the material condition, true arrow false is false. But now look at this. With the double arrow, right, you have an arrow going this way, so you have true arrow false, which is false, right? So it picks up both, in both directions, the material conditional truth condition. Biconditional. The arrow goes in both directions. False double arrow false, right? False arrow false is false. False arrow false is false. Sorry. False arrow false is true. False arrow false going the other way is true, right? So it's safe. But it comes to same truth value. When they have the same truth value, the statement is true. Same truth value, statement is true. Otherwise false. Okay? So biconditional, each implies the other. That comes to same truth value. Okay? So this is going to be related to the arrow, and so I want to introduce it now because as we look at English ways of expressing the arrow, of course, we'll look at that also. What are some options for expressing the double arrow, the biconditional? Okay, so it'll be on to English expressions and correctly symbolizing them in symbolic sentential logic notation.